What's up, my people? Welcome back to Vertical Football. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Things to Learn. Wolves 1, Manchester United 4. Guys, a lot of talking points, a lot of positives, a lot of things that also we need to improve upon, a lot of things that we've seen in the past, and it kept resurfacing itself into this game, and how that we need to, we need to find a lasting solution to those issues. And also, we also talk about certain questions that we need to be asking as the next phase, in our progression as a team, as Manchester United. Let's begin to ask certain questions. And so, guys, let's drop right into it. We have a lot of things to discuss quickly. So that's my first one. I think first 10 minutes were very, very good. The consistency from the players was very, very good. I like the way they started. But obviously, as United, after the 10 minutes, the tempo dropped, the intensity dropped, the concentration dropped. And everything was just spark up, drop until the first goal. And after the first goal, we obviously dropped the tempo. Sadly, again, we dropped the tempo. Sadly, again, we dropped the concentration. Sadly, again, we're not playing it simple and effective as we played it before the goal. After the goal, we're beginning to show more skills and flicks and tricks. I'm not saying that is bad, but football is best played simple. And for a team that is one goal up, that need to get the second goal, you need to be as direct, as sharp to get the second goal. And I felt Casemiro decided to do some skills. Bruno was doing some skills. Other players were holding on to the ball too much, like Kunwa. And it distorted our game. We brought in chaos into that game that should not have been. And it led to Wolves scoring a goal, thriving. Wolves thrived in that chaos and they got a goal. And then the second half, I felt the second half, for me, if I was the owner of Wolves, I would be very, very furious with what the manager did. I felt Wolves' manager's decision to make the game more open by trying to come out, give United more spaces in an away game was not a good one. But also, it was United's game. The kind of game Wolves gave us in the second half was what United loves over the years, try to come out, try to play that eye line, align our wingers to have that, that run in, over your eye line, so those kind of things, the likes of Mbeumo came a little bit, grew into the game because of those situations. Bruno Fernandes, obviously, that's the kind of Bruno Fernandes game, a game where there's the eye line, where you can do those passes, where you can, have those transition moments. So, the Wolves manager actually made it our game, and I'm happy that the boys took the game and they buried the match, which was good to see. So, let's go to another point. I think first and foremost that let me give certain praises to certain players. I think first and foremost, Mazaraoui, I was amazed. I think not just today's game, but even the last game, I was really, really amazed. I was really amazed because it brings in something different than what we see from Yoro. Not that Yoro was decent when he came on, but when you sense it, you see that Mazaraoui actually brings something different. It brings a kind of intensity, a kind of dynamism to that position. I think I saw that today, both defensively and offensively, and I want to give praises to what Mazaraoui did today. Also, Amad Diallo, let me also put Amad Diallo on that right-hand side because I really like what they did on the right-hand side, at least in the first half and part of the second half. Diallo is, to me, is in my opinion, the most consistent Manchester United player currently. Apart from maybe Delete that is now injured, I feel Diallo is the most consistent Manchester United player currently. And for me, I think it should be the example in the dressing room. Even if it's your bad day, maintain a certain level of consistency. And I think Diallo does that for me. Every game I watch him, yes, there are some games where he performs more than others. There are some games where he plays with the team more than others. There are some certain games where he refuses to pass the ball. But obviously, in all those games, I can still see that this guy maintains a certain level of performance, a certain level of consistency. And I'm really happy to see that about Amad Diallo. But I feel obviously there are certain things in this game he needs to improve upon. Let me talk about Diogo Dalot. On the other side, I felt Dalot gave us a kind of calm. And it's not necessarily about what he did with the ball. I think it was, it's that kind of thing you feel as a manager when the ball comes to Dalot, you feel this calm. I think it was calm for most part of the game. It was calm, and the way he went about doing his things, the way he received the ball, he brought this kind of calm to the team. He brought this kind of control in a way to the team, and I didn't like that. I hope he can continue this way because obviously the last two games he has been good. Even though I felt He should have done a little bit better in the chance he had in the first half, but obviously a defender 1v1, I hope better from me next time. But I feel it gives a little bit of control, a little bit of calm in today's game. And I was really, really impressed with that. Aiden Evan. I said it in the last 5 things. I'm saying it again today. That guy is an amazing player, and we all know. But I feel that the decision for Ruben Amorim to play me in that central back, really, we know Ruben Amorim does that in Sporting, but I've always been asking, how is he going to work in the Premier League? And yes, we cannot really say, because the times we've tried it were against teams where we were more dominating, where we had more of the ball, where we were able to, to at least in a way, to control the game in a way, But I felt he did very well last game. I think he was substituted last game because of the early yellow card, he had with Bowen. Today was fantastic. And I felt that when Lisandro came into that CCB, it shows us one of the reasons why I'm very, very interested in Ruben Amorim's formation. In the sense of, first of all, it sets up there a lot of dynamism in this formation. I know people, maybe the top guys, the big analysts, maybe they've not seen it, or maybe it's me that's delusional, but I don't think I'm delusional, because whenever I watch the game, whenever I see the team, I see that this formation has a lot of dynamism, not just in terms of flexibility of positions, but also the dynamism that comes to this formation when there is a player with a different foot that would almost always play there. For example, what am I trying to say? As I said many times, in the wing back, when you invert the foot of the wing backs, right on the left on the right, it changes something. And today you could see also a dynamism of the team when you have players that can do penetrative passes like Heaven, like Lisandro in the center, players that are comfortable on the ball, players that the ball, the pass, when they pass the ball, it looks sweet, it looks enjoyable. When they come into that center, it gives another dynamism. So it gives a different dynamism than maybe a delete in the center. So I just feel there are a lot of dynamism, and it's something that whenever I see the formation, I know there's a lot of rave about the formation. I'm on 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1 formation. But for me, I keep learning every time I watch the formation. I keep seeing, and maybe I've not watched football for so long. Maybe. But for me, I see things here and I'm like, wow, this is something. This is something. And I think today really, really showed that. I know that, yes, we've not played against a team that is more dominating, more forceful on us, but these are the kind of games we keep testing it till we then try it on the big stage. But for me, there's a lot of dynamism. If the levels, the penetrative passes were amazing, the comfort on the ball was amazing. Lisandro, obviously, Lisandro Martinez, the braveness, the balls on the ball, the ability also that we will see in this CCB, as I've said many times, the ability of the CCB, either Lisandro or Heaven, but I think more Lisandro to be able to push into midfield. And so he pushes to midfield, gives a different dynamism, allows Bruno and Casemiro to push higher. I think I enjoy this. This is why I love this, what I'm doing. The ability to be able to see this formation and to try and see what the manager is trying to do. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm not saying Amorim is the right man, but I'm enjoying what I'm seeing currently in terms of the tactical aspect of things. And for me, I don't know what other people are seeing when they say the formation will not work. But for me, I enjoy what I'm seeing currently, and that's what I have to analyze. So let's go. Let me not waste my time on the tactics. Let's go to other moments. I felt that another person I want to reach out is Shaw. Shaw was solid. Shaw was solid there. As I said, Shaw, Mazraoui, even I like what they did there. And this is the second game they started together. I like what I see there. Lamens, I was very, very impressed with Lamens. And these are the simple things that appear simple, but actually makes a lot of sense. The ability of Lamens to use 2 feet. I keep saying it. It's for me, it's one of his biggest characteristics. You can't press him. He's comfortable using his right, he's comfortable using his left. And there are certain moments where he was pressed today, and another goalkeeper that couldn't use the left would have had turnovers, would have had ball going out. But his ability to calmly use his left, calmly use his right, gave us that control. I think we need to get more players in, not because of the scoreline. You guys should know me. I'm not about the scoreline, but I'm about what I'm seeing. And I hope this works, because it will be very amazing if it works. So I like what I saw from Lamens. Bruno, Casemiro were decent as usual. I think last game also, they were not really bad. They were decent, but I felt Casemiro at certain moments, decisions on the ball, Bruno at certain moments, decision on the ball, they were too playful at times. especially after the first goal, that gave that chaos situation where Wolves capitalized and got their goal. Kunwa, I'm worried about Kunwa. I have to be said, I'm very, very worried about Kunwa. I feel that Kunwa owes the ball too much. And I feel he needs to understand something. And this, I keep saying it for players that hold the ball too much. I said it during Pogba's time. Football is best played simple. Play it simple. Receive and release. Receive and release. I think I think it's going to be a big job for the manager, because this is the way Kunwa has played for 25, 26, 27 years of his life. I feel he has to make changes. He really has to make changes in his game, because I'm really worried. When I see Kunwa, I'm really worried. There's certain things that he shouldn't be holding on to the ball too much. He should be using the ball quickly. He should be entering into different spaces. And I'm not seeing that from him. I'm really worried, and I hope Amorim talks to him and fix it. Now, Mbeumo also, I'm worried, but really I understand. At least I can get why Mbeumo is struggling. Partly because Mbeumo is a winger, being asked to play as an inside forward. And the duty that is asked of him is much more difficult for him to adapt than the Matheus Cunha, right? Because Matheus Cunha looks like in his natural habitat, whether he's playing as a first dropping back or he's playing in that left inside forward. But for Mbeumo, I see, and I've said it before on this podcast, that Mbeumo thrives when he's outside to inside. So that means when he receives the ball as maximum width and he drives in, right? But we've seen in recent games where he has struggled, that he has been asked to move in to play within the pocket, while Diallo, especially against teams that are playing low block, while Amad Diallo push as a winger. And you see that he's not comfortable because he needs space, And again, also because of the time on the ball, he needs to be quick on the ball to make decisions in those tight spaces. It's difficult for him. Very, very difficult for him. And that's why you see he's struggling. Also because of his body posture when he receives the ball, right? So, for example, when he receives the ball on the wing, his body posture is like, give it to me, I can face and do something, right? But when he receives the ball in the space, sometimes you see that whenever he receives the ball like this in the space, it's okay. But if Mbeumo receives the ball like this in the space, it's difficult. He loses the ball most times when his body posture is like this in the space. So I feel it's something that he needs to work upon. I understand the struggles, and maybe that's why I'm going to do a video. I promise you a video. I'm going to do a video of a player I believe, or players I believe can fill that role in terms of natural habitat to play within the pocket, because it's a profile that we need, right? It's a profile that we need as an inside forward that is comfortable in those pockets, different from the kind of winger that we have in Bryan Mbeumo. So let's move on to other things. I said we have a lot of things to discuss, but I want to quickly move on. The mentality. Let me talk about the mentality a bit. He showed again today. And for me, I told the guys on our community group, that this is just like someone that has an addiction, right? It's not easy to break out of. It's about, I won't do this thing again. This is bad. And any small relaxation, you guys that have had people that have had addiction or might have even had at one point of your life, any relaxation, there's a victory. You're at more risk of a relapse. And I think that was going to United. It's a mental thing I've said many times, many months ago. It has always been a mental thing. It's just that the mental battles change shape. Before it was when the scores will crumble. Now it's when we score, we relax. But when you look at it, I have devised a solution. And I think this is my free consultancy, points to Manchester United. I feel every time we score and anytime we score going forward, whenever we score, I believe the players should not celebrate alone. The players should go and celebrate to the manager. So the manager has that time to tell them to keep it in the game. This is my solution, because I feel that anytime they get to go into the dressing room with the manager at halftime, which I've seen in recent time, Crystal Palace and today, you see that they come back energized, they come back more serious. So I want to use every single moment. If there's an injury on the pitch, the instruction will be, go and meet the manager. Let him say one or two things to you. If we score a goal, don't jubilate alone. Go and meet the manager. I think Arteta did this at a point in Arsenal. For Arsenal fans will know. Arteta did this at a point in Arsenal where at any little injury, you gather the boys together and keep something there. I think the players, we need to keep firing them up at every minute, because the mentality is really, really a big issue. So Manchester United, this is my free advice to you. So I think a lot of things to say, but I feel that there are positive signs. There are really positive signs. I have a lot of things I seem to say, but most of the time, a lot of positive signs. But I promise that I have, a lot of videos that I'm going to release this week, obviously, by God's grace, this week, for more players that we need to get, or more players that can help us solve certain problems, and I hope that we are able to do that. So I think, thank you very much for sticking with me. I remain my humble self, Shegun. I know it was a rush, but we had to just drop it for you because I don't want it to be too long. As usual, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and most importantly, don't forget to share. And if you have any comments or disagreement with what I've said, please drop it in the comment section. Until we see you next time. Bye.